The Physics of Eye Protection. By Colonel Alan M. Morris. The two principal ways that humans make connections with the world around them are through vision and hearing. The loss of vision separates people from things, while the loss of hearing separates people from people. There are 4 areas of eye hazards. Knowing these 4 different types of hazards can greatly help you protect your vision, and thus your relationship with things. Knowing the 4 different types of eye hazards will not necessarily keep the accidents from happening, but knowing the 4 different types of eye hazards will help you retain your vision when the accident happens. The 4 areas of eye hazards are: impact or trauma, radiation, chemical, and disease. The first 2 are more directly related to physics and the latter 2 are still related to physics, but it could be argued that they are not related to physics as much. They will, however, still be covered. Impact or trauma is when something hits the eye with kinetic energy or the eye hits something. In either case, kinetic energy is involved. Research has revealed that almost all impact or trauma to the eye that has caused eye damage had less kinetic energy than a 1-inch diameter steel ball dropped from 50 inches. So this has become the standard for the test for impact-rated eye protection. That is, eye protection that has the seal of approval of the American National Standards Institute will withstand the kinetic energy of a 1-inch steel ball dropped from 50 inches. The rating for this impact is Z87. The Z87 mark can be found on the earpiece of eye protection that has the rating. Let's take a look at a few eye injuries that could have been prevented had the person been wearing Z87 eye protection. These eye injuries could have easily been avoided had the person been wearing a simple pair of Z87 eye protection. Almost all impacts to the eye that cause injury would have been deflected and no injury would have happened had the item bounced off a simple piece of plastic. Some seemingly simple little eye injuries cause permanent vision loss to some degree. Not to mention that eye injuries are painful, costly, and some are never able to be fixed cosmetically. Now, a really good pair of Z87s will not help you if a 16-pound bowling ball is headed toward your eye. But almost all injuries that make it to the emergency room could have been prevented by a pair of Z87s. Another area of eye hazards is radiation. Radiation can come in the form of bright light, or light that you can't see. Perhaps you have experienced a bright light, and for a moment you were blinded. Or perhaps you have gone from a bright sunny day into a darkened building. You were unable to see well, for a moment. You could have benefited by wearing darkened shades, while in the bright light. The type of vision loss that comes from too much light that you can see is not normally permanent, but should be avoided as much as possible. Another form of light that can do damage to your eyes, and thus to your vision, comes from light that you cannot see. We call this light ultraviolet light. Perhaps you have gotten burned from ultraviolet light by being exposed to too much sun, without any protection. The sunburn that you can get on your skin, and that is painful, can happen to the back of your eyes too. You will not be able to feel it, but you can experience vision loss by getting a sunburn on the back of your eyes. You can protect yourself from light that you can't see and that you can see with different levels of shading. Sunglasses are normally a shade 3, 4, or 5, while those that are used by welders have a much higher rating for more intense light, and to block UV or ultraviolet light. When you are around welding, it is very attractive to look at and even to stare at the pretty blue light, but don't. It can be mesmerizing. Even animals that are around welding will want to look at the pretty blue light. If you are the welder, it is your duty and responsibility to protect yourself and others. Other types of radiation can come from lasers, and you too will need eye protection when you are working with lasers. And never point a laser where it can strike a person in the eye. 2 other types of eye hazards are chemical and disease. Chemical eye hazards are when chemicals in one form or the other get into the eye, or eyes. These hazards can be liquids, gases, and powders. Eye protection is designed to guard against these types of hazards. To go into specific detail on all of the different types of protection against chemical hazards is beyond the scope of today's lesson. The short version is, be aware of the chemical hazards when you are around chemical hazards. And know how to best protect yourself from the chemical hazards. In other words, take the necessary precautions to protect yourself against chemical eye hazards. After all, they are your eyes. It is your vision. And no one cares more about your eyes than you. The final of the 4 areas of eye hazards is eye disease. Basically, there are many different types of eye disease, with the most common being pink eye. Pink eye is also called conjunctivitis, and it comes in many forms too. Both viral and bacterial forms are highly contagious. The best protection against eye disease is to avoid bringing anything in contact with the eye that might be contaminated. The contamination could come from something as simple as rubbing your eyes with your hands. Another common way that eyes become infected is when people share eye protection, and this includes sunglasses too. Swapping your Z87s or Shade 5 welding eye protection is a good way to get an eye disease. If you suspect that you have an eye disease, consult a medical professional immediately. In many cases, the loss of vision cannot be reversed. But fear not. If you do lose an eye, replacements are made. But you cannot see with a glass eye. Good vision with both eyes is important for many of the things that enhance the quality of one's daily life. Protect your vision from all of the 4 areas of eye hazards. Don't forget to check out the lab manual below.